When I came into this country to do my MBA and doctorate, I was taken a loan which I had to repay when I started working in this country. And as you know, the academic salaries are not very high. In fact, in 1980, when I started at Harvard Business School as an assistant prof, I had a much bigger loan than my annual salary. And one thing we were brought up in India is not to have too much debt. And that has been drilled into our brains that you cannot have too much debt. And therefore, I wanted to pay back all of that loan right in the first year itself. And we had also just gotten married, so I had my wife and we were trying to manage all of this. And my gross income was less than the loan, so there was no way I was going to be able to pay that back. So I went and met the dean at Harvard Business School and told him, look, I'm here, that's the good news. But the bad news is I got this loan. And that's not your problem, that's my problem. But you can help me. These are some of the skills that I have. And if there is any corporation that's interested in these skills, I would like to be able to work with the companies and earn some extra money. And a week later, I got a call from his office that CEO of B.F. Goodrich is going to call me, and rest is history, as they say. When I started working with companies, I started working with companies out of necessity because I had to pay back this loan. Most academics don't work with companies because they want to do their research and get their tenure and then think about working with companies later. But whereas I was drawn into it out of necessity. When I was drawn into it out of necessity, I found a couple of things. First, I really enjoyed it. I was good at it. But most importantly, it made me a better college professor. And I quickly realized there is really a synergistic relationship between working with practice and being a good college professor. And even though this may look obvious, but many people don't see that connection. After all, we are in a business school. This is like if you're a doctor, you can't be a surgeon unless you've seen a patient. How can one be an effective business school professor unless you have a very serious, intimate, deep conversation with serious senior executives? And I was given that opportunity fairly early on. So for the last 30 years, I have been working very closely with more than 25% of the Fortune 500 companies, more than about 125 Fortune 500 companies and their senior leaders I have been interacting with. And what I have found is my research ideas, more often than not, comes from practice. And my research and my findings get fleshed out when I have to present it in front of the practitioners as well. This has become a kind of a synergistic relationship between practice and research. Therefore, I value my consulting a lot. And my consulting has always been to engage with world-class companies, with senior, seasoned executives, and wrestle with them intellectually about what they are doing, what frustrations they are facing, and how my research can inform their problems, but more importantly, how their problems in turn can influence my research.